Testing. Testing. 1 2 1 2. Is this sneezy working? Or what? Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2. Oh man. Ugh. Geezy Truth News.
So I freeze the final curtain. My friend, I'll say clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that full. I travel each and every highway and more, much more than these. I did it my way. Regrets, I had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do, and saw it through without exception. I planned each charter course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than these. I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you
Wow.
when I beat off.
Oh, I'm getting too tired of this shit, dog. Oh. You gotta wrap this. Hey, thank you very much. We gotta wrap this up. We gotta make this a little bit quicker than expected. Thank you very much. That was thanks to our Marthin While We're Ending band. And actually, thank everybody for tuning in. I believe, are we live or what? I can't tell if we're live or not. So, live or not, here we are. Welcome everybody to Geezy Truth News. It is November 14th, 2018. Yes, thank you everybody. Thank you very much for tuning into the GTN network. Geezy Truth News is live here right now. It should be. We got Tom and John over there twiddling on the dials, making sure everything is correct here. And looks like what do we have over here? Okay, my technical engineers here are telling me that we may have some technical difficulties on tonight's show. So, thank you everybody for that, but keep in touch. The phone line should be open, should be on. Let me tell you everybody, we got quite the show. We got quite the show tonight, alright? Because we have a VIP coming up on the show. And actually, due to technical difficulties, like I was mentioning earlier, there may be a few technical computers that may be malfunctioning, which means that we're just going to have to go by the classic correspondence via phone, as looks like the technical difficulties on the Skype video chat seems to be not working, or whatever type of programs that we're working on here. Alright, so everybody, thank you very much. We got a lot to talk about. Let me tell you, there's a lot of things going on. A lot of people got a lot of questions. We're here to answer them all. And everybody, like I said, the phone lines are open. Except the only time the phone lines are not going to be open is when the VIP calls, and we're going to have a special surprise there. And who knows, by the title of the video, it may be already revealed. So here we go. Before we get the VIP on, let's get updated real quick here. What's going on? Well, let me tell you. Looks like in the most recent election in the U.S., the House was taken by the Dems, and the Senate was taken by the Republicans, which is, you know, by different sources, we're saying that obviously the Senate is more important, and it's going to be crucial in 2019. There's going to be a new law enacted on the 1st of January of 2019. So we're going to have a lot of interesting things coming up here right now. So here we go. We looks like we have we got a caller in right now. Let's find out who it is. Hello?
Hi, it's Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you for calling. How are you doing?
Just fine.
All right. Well, thank you for calling in. We got a lot to talk about, and was wondering if what would you... First, I'd like to say thank you for calling in, and this is Kevin Annett. He's been a renowned global human rights campaigner, author, and whistleblower who has led the movement to expose and prosecute child murder by church and state in Canada and Europe. Kevin is the co-founder of the International Tribunal of Crimes of Church and State and has been twice nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. So, thank you very much, and what can you tell us about the updates and what's going on?
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Our campaign for over 20 years has faced so much censorship that it really is dependent on alternative media like yours to get the word out, so it's really all the more appreciated. In the last number of years, our whole campaign is focused on global child trafficking, evidence of satanic ritual networks, and that kind of thing. It really started for me, investigating the crimes of genocide in North America against Native children in the so-called Indian schools. In the last number of, especially the last year, you've had lots of exposures coming out involving the top levels of the Vatican, because we know a lot of this stuff goes back to Rome over many centuries. For example, it was the Catholic Church that ran most of these Indian residential schools. And I should mention to folks, if you want to look at any of the evidence I'm talking about, it's murderbydecree.com. Everything is online there. And our tribunal website, the International Tribunal of Crimes of Church and State, the itccs.org. Some of the recent news items, in June, there was an attempt to actually arrest Pope Francis, Jorge trafficking in satanic ritual killings of the Ninth Circle, so-called Ninth Circle, which is a cult within the Catholic Church. There were 2 attempts to arrest him by common law sheriffs, one in Geneva, one in Dublin, that almost succeeded. And if you remember, when he was in Dublin, there were massive protests against him. So this kind of thing is escalating, and we're finding splits happening within the Catholic Church, wanting to, get rid of any evidence linking these people to these crimes. But more people keep coming forward all the time, and I think it shows you the power of staying on the truth when you have the evidence and going public all the time about it.
That's right. Well, so you were talking about the Pope that happened, that the arrests were being made on, or on who?
Yeah, there were several attempts. You see, this goes back a ways. 5 years ago, we convened a common law trial in Brussels, looking at a lot of the evidence of child trafficking, genocide going way back, and it's one of the reasons that the previous guy, Joseph Ratzinger, stepped down, so-called Pope Benedict, because there was hard evidence that he had been ordering up not only the cover-up of these crimes, but he was actively colluding in them. And we're not talking about, the way the corporate media reports it is, there's sometimes child rape going on. It's a whole massive network within the Catholic Church involving every priest, either directly involved or helping to conceal it. One of the things we revealed was a document from 1929 called Crimen Solicitanus. It's a Latin word, and it means the crime of solicitation. And it's a policy governing how when children are raped by priests, what's to happen. It says the crime is to be covered up, the police are not to be sold, and anyone who talks about it is excommunicated. Well, that policy indicts every existing pope, because they're all involved in in concealing his crimes, which under the law is as serious as doing it. So the evidence is all there. It's kind of like the old problem of when the criminals are in high places, who's going to go after them? So we set the example of convening a common law trial and issuing citizen arrest warrants. It's one of the reasons these things have been coming out, because governments around the world are showing some willingness to act on it. Like one of the reasons Ratzinger had to step down is because the Spanish government had issued a possible arrest warrant against him if he ever came to Spain. So, it shows you the trend. More and more of these kinds of things are happening.
Yeah, and so what is the most recent thing? Has there been any convictions?
Well, the convictions have happened. There were 2 common law court trials in 2013, 2014 in Brussels. And if you go to itccs.org, if you go back a number of years, you can see the evidence of this. The convictions happened. Now, these are called tribunals of conscience. Citizens can set up their own investigations when the courts are refusing. And these people have been convicted. We're talking the top people in the Vatican, the government of Canada, in terms of the residential school crimes. Queen Elizabeth, who was convicted for actually abducting children herself out of Indian residential schools in Canada, the eyewitnesses to that. So the convictions have happened. The whole question now is enforcement. How do you actually stop these people? We see that there's more and more evidence that that police are even considering coming down more on especially the Catholic Church. I mean, you see all over the states now, like in Pennsylvania recently, just a few months ago, there was a whole series of indictments handed down by a grand jury showing that the top Catholic cardinals were in America were involved in concealing these crimes. So for the first time, you're seeing courts issue indictments against people higher than priests. Before it was just low-level priests who were targeted. Now they're taking on more of the church hierarchy. So that's a sign of the times, I think, because of this work we've been doing.
That's right, and I want to personally thank you very much for all the hard work and effort that you've done, and obviously we all want to help. We all want to do something, and the thing is we want action, and we want it to be seen. So you're saying that these people, there's been people who were convicted. What happened to them? Are they in jail, prison, or where are they?
Well, we publish the names. The best weapon we have is public exposure. So no, we physically can't go out and make these arrests. We rely on the police and other people, common law sheriffs, and that to do that. But we can spread the evidence. And so, for example, about 2 months after the first trial where Ratzinger was forced to step down, this would have been in the spring of 2013, Interpol used a lot of our evidence, and they arrested over 1,000 people involved in child trafficking in Europe. Now, for example, this was all over the news. They actually uncovered underground chambers where children were literally being held in cages in Brussels. They released 30 children from these cages, which was in the basement of a Catholic church. So we saved the lives of those 30 children and made it so that it was a lot harder for these cult killers to operate. In the Ninth Circle, which is the name of the Catholic Church's cult, or other places. So, just shining a spotlight on it, picketing the churches, identifying the places where these things happen, that can literally save lives. And like I say, the courts in America have been willing to go further than just slapping the wrist of a few low-level priests. They're now going after people who are higher up. Problem is, politically, the Vatican has a lot of power in America and everything, not just because of all the Catholic voters, but because of money that the Vatican directly funds both Democrats and Republicans. And there's a thing called the Financial Concordat, which is a treaty between America and the Vatican. And they are channeling money, taxpayers' money, directly into the Vatican Bank without your knowledge of it. So this is the kind of stuff that's coming out more and more, and it shows you the power of citizens taking actions, because none of this stuff would have been happening unless we hadn't have shone the light on it first, right?
So what can people do?
Well, it starts locally. Anyone who goes into a Catholic church, their child is in danger, and every child is in danger, because if that child is harmed, everyone is under orders to cover it up. So it's a dangerous place to take children. We need to educate people going into these churches about their real nature. That's the first thing we do. It's how our campaign started over 20 years ago. We just started having a public presence, identifying where there's harm going on, educating the people in the community as to these crimes. And I would say people should go to murderbydecree.com and itccs.org. You can also order our books. If you put in my name, Kevin Annett, Annett, if you type that into amazon.com, you'll see all 10 or so of the books that I've written over the last 3 years. Not just about these crimes, but we published manuals, whistleblower manual, and also a common law training manual. So it shows citizens how they can convene their own common law courts, do their own investigations, and based on our experience of what works. So all of those things can happen. Folks can also write to me at thecommonland@gmail.com. I do tours all over America and Canada especially, where we hold workshops. I'm doing a couple of workshops in the coming months in Pennsylvania, Ontario, and Alberta in Canada. Doing that, just showing people how they can do their own investigations on common law courts. And, the results on the ground are really, if you keep at it, not just on this issue of child trafficking, but really any issue where our liberties are threatened, it gets results. So that's something that that's kind of an immediate place for people to start. But I'd say order the books, go to amazon.com, see the books I've written, and educate yourself first,
Yeah, for sure. Wow, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's nice to hear that. Definitely, it seems like people are more hearing about it. People could hear about it more often. 10 years back, people wouldn't know about things like this, like the pedogate and all this craziness. But hopefully, the more people know, the better. But then, again, people feel like they can't do anything, which is great that you have the tribunal court, the common court, to do that.
Yeah.
But still, but even that, it's like, okay, so you convicted the Pope, but I mean, they're still there. Like all the power and influence is all still there, and conviction has to be enforced. I mean, it's like you can convict him, but then if he's still out there running around preaching all this, it's just, it's crazy.
We did force the guy to resign. Ratzinger's been hiding hiding out in the Vatican for 5 years. And he's supposedly one of the most powerful guys on earth and untouchable, and yet we've forced him out of his office and he's hiding. He won't appear because he's afraid he'll be arrested. That's the power we have in this situation. And all their money in the world didn't stop that from happening. So also when you look at the attendance, the Catholic Church attendance is going way down because more people are waking up to this. I was in Dublin, Ireland, where we work with a group. We set up a common law court in Dublin. And we brought over 12,000 people out in the streets to protest when Pope Francis was there, Bergoglio, a few months ago. But one of the things that we noticed is one of the women said in Dublin, the biggest cathedral is called Pro Cathedral. It can sit over 500 people. You go in there on a Sunday morning, you'll be lucky to see 20 people sitting in the pews. So people are voting with their feet, and that's what they're worried about. They're worried about losing their money and their public image. And that's, like I say in the whistleblower manual I wrote, if you attack the two things that these institutions love the most, they have to respond. If you go after their money and their public image, they have to respond no matter how small you are. So, we've shown in practice that works, and, Rome wasn't defeated in a day, but we've started the process, put it that way.
All right. Well, I mean, it sounds like the bottom line is like it works. You found... it just takes time. It's working. It just needs time. Like, right?
That's right. It's like anything. You got to keep at it. And when you think of what's at stake, children's lives, our liberties, all of this stuff, it's tyranny at every level, as people know, right? Whether it's government, churches, big corporations, our lives are at stake now, and we have to fight back. So I think I see that awakening happening all over wherever I go. So it's good.
Yeah, and how do you, and how far deep have you gone into finding out who actually is causing all this? It's hard for me to believe that, like, the Pope is doing all this. Hard for me to believe that even the Vatican is the sole people of doing this. It has to be an underground ring. I mean, it's a huge pedophile ring. It's this whole, like, the whole world. I mean, how big is it? Like, who are these people?
It's huge, but the thing about the Vatican is that it started a lot of this stuff. It goes back over 2,000 years, and it's probably older than that. But the reality is that a lot of what in our investigations we find a lot of it goes back to organized religion, because one of the reasons is it has apparent legitimacy. People think it has something to do with God, and so I found, like, when I was thrown out of the United Church in Canada, no one could suspect that churches were doing this. But now all the evidence has come out. It's a cover. It's like that policy I mentioned in the Catholic Church. If you're a child rapist, you know that you can get ordained as a Catholic priest and you'll be protected. Well, what kind of people does that attract? And everybody protects everybody else. It's like in any corporation, people, the guilty have to cover for each other. So, it's part of the brainwashing people have been raised with, that these churches have something to do with morality. We know in practice they don't. People sitting in the pews don't even know what they're part of. They don't even know the crimes being done with their money and in their name. So it's a matter of kind of our mental conditioning that we have to overcome as well, right?
Yeah, of course. We just need action. We just need to see where's, like, it's crazy how they have so much power that you can't see it on the news. Like, the news isn't reporting it. Who are these people? Are they politicians? Or are they your next door neighbor? Are they everybody? Is this all just like giant conspiracy? And everybody's covering each other. The media, like CNN or whoever. Like, there's not a single. I mean,
it's like in this culture, you follow the money. Who's ever got the money calls the tunes, and the media is all concentrated, owned by a few corporations. The same corporations that are often owned by the Catholic Church. Like the Vatican has an investment portfolio in America alone of billions of dollars. They own media. They own Chase Manhattan Bank. They're heavily into the arms industry, GMO, big pharma, and so it's that money calling the tunes again. But it's people have to realize that these churches are big corporations, and that's one of the reasons they get away with it. But they're also really vulnerable because when you have a lot of money, you're always looking over your shoulder about, and when you've committed these crimes, you're always worried it's going to be uncovered. So we find that's an Achilles heel we can take advantage of.
Yeah, and I wonder if there's a way, maybe like a petition type of thing, where when you do convict these guys in the common court, there's got to be a way to enforce it through petition or through some sort of where they can't just walk away scot-free, like how you see with a lot of these bankers. They've committed billions of dollars of fraud, but then in the end, I mean, they didn't get arrested for anything. They didn't get in trouble. Like, they just retired from their CEO position and, retired.
Well, it's a constant battle because, often crime pays, but that's no reason not to try to stop it, especially when it's killing children. So, I mean, it's a matter of, I think it was John Adams, one of the founding fathers, said, founding fathers of America, he said, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. You got to be always vigilant, and especially watching the people with a lot of power and money, because they're the big criminals, right?
Of course. So there is a way to enforce. Is there a legal way to enforce the conviction?
There's any number of ways. There's a citizen arrest. You have the power to arrest anyone who you think, not even traditionally, you can arrest anyone if you saw a crime going on. Nowadays, the citizen arrest laws in America and Canada and other countries, they've been broadened. So if you even suspect that somebody has harmed somebody or will harm somebody else, you have the right to detain them. And that applies to every Catholic priest, because every one of them is involved in a criminal conspiracy. If a child is raped in the Catholic Church, every priest is obliged to cover it up or they'll be thrown out of the church. If you can believe that. I mean, it's written down. If people want to look at that policy, it's reprinted at murderbydecree.com. Just go to one of the appendices and you'll see it. The Crimen Solicitatis policy. So we have the right to detain Catholic priests and say, look, is there child trafficking going on in this church? We're going to go in and investigate. Once you start doing that, they really start freaking out and they start admitting stuff because they're afraid of the bigger stuff coming out. So citizen action is always a direct way to get results. Stop putting money in the collection plate of the church. It's that simple. We found, when we started handing out flyers at churches that had been involved in killing Indian children and in their boarding schools, we found when we were handing out leaflets saying to the churchgoers, don't give money to these churches, you immediately got a response because they were terrified of losing money on Sunday morning. And that's what just strikes. So those are just two examples of what people can do directly without even having to rely on the cops or the courts or anything.
Yeah, and you say it's all religion, right? It's all, and all the politicians too are getting, they keep finding out more and more of these politicians are pedophiles and have some kind of blackmail on them and all this kinds of stuff.
Well, that's the thing, that everybody to some degree takes part in it, and the church has been doing it for a long time, and they provide a great cover for it, and they've got a lot of money. They never pay taxes, the whole bit, right? But of course, it's at every level where you've got big money, where you've got government and secrets, operations going on. This can happen. Like one thing, it got exposed recently that UN peacekeepers often will go in and traffic women and children. When they're supposedly keeping peace, they're actually, doing human trafficking at the same time, as well as drugs and arms trafficking. So all of these crimes go together, and the more we talk about and reveal it, the more the chance is that we can stop it, because the first step is awareness, right?
Right. So what's the newest update, or what's the next plan? What's upcoming right now?
Well, I'm working with the tribunal, ITCCS. It's based in 9 countries, and we're constantly documenting these crimes. One of the things that is going to be happening in the new year is there's going to be new attempts at making these arrests of the top Vatican officials. In Canada, there's a whole movement to sever ties with the crown, set up a republic because of the crimes of the crown and these churches that we proved in, again, a murderbydecree.com. You can read everything. But it's really a matter of like constantly doing this and taking action at a local level. That's where the results happen the best. I'm also on speaking tour again in the new year, and I go around and organize workshops and work with people who have any number of issues. So that's personally something that's on the horizon.
Nice, yeah, that's good. And are more people waking up when you go to your workshops? Like, how many people are there, and is there more every year?
Well, it goes up and down. I mean, unfortunately, people are always waiting for somebody else to take the lead. They don't have confidence in themselves, or they feel they don't have the knowledge. But I mean, first thing we say in a workshop is you're your best expert. You've had life experience. You know the problems. Draw on that experience first. We're not here to teach you. We're here to help you uncover your own knowledge about a situation. And we find that kind of empowers people a lot better. But, it depends on the issue. Like, it's any issue can be brought into a common law court. And whether it's police harassment or court corruption or child trafficking or anything. We had a group in California that did a court case around chemtrails. And trying to locate who's responsible and environmental destruction, all of that stuff. So it's really in our hands what we want to do with this stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, it's too. There's a couple things to that. I mean, first of all, if the only office is in Brussels, I mean, if the internet cuts off, then it's hard to connect with that office in Brussels if you want to do anything. Right. I mean, there's a whole lot of things about it, but bottom line is, if you have concrete evidence, if you have like fact and proof and evidence, if we have all of this, like, it's proven beyond doubt, you can't deny it. You committed these heinous crimes, you are guilty. Then where is the outrage? Where is the, like, people should be like flipping their, should be going crazy over this stuff. To hear that the Pope is blinking little baby Jesus across the lawn, and who knows what kind of crazy stuff is going on.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like people know and suspect a lot of this stuff. A lot of people do, but it's always a question of who's going to start it. People are always holding back, and if we set a good enough example, people will eventually get on board. But you got to do that. You got to provide the leadership and lead by example. And that's what we're trying to do. And you're right about, we can't rely on any one person or group because they can get taken down and then that's that. We all have to lead this in our own communities so that, we can keep this going and they can't take us out, right?
Yeah. Okay, well, so it sounds like the Common Court is the thing. You got to do your own research. The Common Court is there. The facts and where can you get this facts and information? Where can you get this evidence? Especially like at a time now where everything is fake news, everything can be fibbed. I mean, the technology that they have these days is like, crazy. You could make someone's mouth move and say something that they didn't mean, or, for example.
Well, I mean, first of all, people have the experience. That's the proof of in your own experience. But there's hard documents, testimonies. Again, I'll mention those for people. Murderbydecree.com, itccs.org, and just go to amazon.com, put my name in, and you can see all of the stuff there, the books. It takes some work. If you go to those sites, you'll see videos and other postings with the hard evidence. I don't think the problem is evidence. It's so much as A, people don't want to believe it, and then B, even if they believe it, they don't want to do anything about it because they feel there might be a risk. But you got to find those few people who are willing to act, and they provide the leadership. So I meet those people all over. It's just a matter of staying at this, right? Yeah,
that's for sure. So the biggest piece of evidence that you have, or the biggest piece of evidence, is the creme de la creme. Like, there's evidence of the Pope like boinking a kid or what?
There's photographic evidence. There's letters he signed that show that he ordered the cover up these crimes.
Wow.
There's a lot of stuff. People are going to have to just look at the websites and do the research because it's all there, right?
Yeah, of course. But having like having the big having the big thing, people probably want to hear like the worst thing. Like if there's I mean all of this is terrible. But if the Pope is like, yeah, like I am butt fucking kids every day and like, if this is what's happening, like if the Pope is doing all that stuff, we got a huge problem. We obviously have a huge problem.
That's right. And it could be your child next. It could be you next. So that's the reality, right? So.
Yeah, and so do you know is their power dwindling? Do you know if I mean it sounds like the good guys are winning slowly but surely.
Well, I mean we've had some victories, but I wouldn't say so. In fact, if anything, it's getting a lot worse. I mean, I think both are happening at the same time. People are more aware, but unless you translate that awareness into action and really changing the priorities of our life and not colluding in these crimes anymore, like people are going to stop paying their taxes. They got to stop supporting these churches, and it's really otherwise we don't have any basis to complain if we're helping the machine operate. So
Right. So wow. So you're saying that it's growing. That's interesting. That the power there, I was under the impression that their powers are dwindling because more people are waking up and less people are being.
It's still going on as we speak, and I just think it's important not to. When people hear things are improving, they tend to sit back and say, "Okay, I don't have to worry anymore."
Yeah.
And in fact, I think that that's a big mistake because the reality is this stuff is wired right into the system. Like in terms of child trafficking, we find more and more of the kids being trafficked are being done right by the government, by this so-called child care system. Make lots of money by taking children out of their families and putting them in foster homes. That's a huge, whole big business. So that's going on all the time. So I just think we have to keep it all in perspective.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, these guys are so intelligent. They have like I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, yeah, I hate to commend them on how evil they are, but it's pretty shocking in how they're doing all this stuff. Like right here in the U.S., they say that I've read plenty of articles that say and have evidence for children outside of Washington D.C. Like more children disappear outside of Washington D.C. than like any other area in the U.S. for example. And like where are all these children going? There's like thousands of children are going missing, millions, whatever. Oh, and somehow this is all like they're sending them up the chain to the Vatican or something along those lines because we don't actually know, kind of like before, like we don't really know how they operate, right?
Well, no, we do. Yeah, it's like I said. Inside these churches, it's all secrecy. If you're, let's say, you're an honest priest and you hear about this happening, you can't talk about it, or you're being excommunicated. So you have to choose between, doing what's according to the conscience and what's going to protect the church, right? They're opposites. And so if people keep operating in that system, they're part of the crime. If you're under the law if you hide the gun that's being used in a murder, you're an accessory to a crime. You can be charged and get just as much time as a guy who pulls the trigger.
Absolutely.
Well, same thing here, right?
Yeah, of course. It's crazy to me that they have this evidence and yet it's just taking this long. It's taking very slow to do this. It's like, okay, you have the evidence of these children going missing here in DC. Where are they going? If you somehow find them somehow they find them in the Vatican or whatever, however this works, it's like can't link the two and just be like bam, like convicted, you're gone, like trial's done. So, all right. Well, any last remarks, comments?
gmail.com, and go to Amazon. Check out Kevin Annett. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin Annett. You have a great day. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Take care. All right. Well, that was that. Thank you very much, Kevin Annett, for tuning in, for calling in and talking about all that. That is crazy. So, it just comes to show there's people out there really grinding their gears to get this done. I mean, this stuff is no joke, and there's people who are working. I commend Kevin Annett for working so hard for trying to figure all this out. This is crazy, and I feel we're all part of the human race. We're all trying to help. We're all trying to figure this out, and it's pretty shocking what's happening, what's going on. You would never think. So it's taken a while, but, everybody got to do their due diligence. Everybody's got to work on... If you want to take care of this problem, we all got to work on it. So, yeah, and that's the thing. So this pedogate thing, and as I've been saying, ever since I started this show, is that has been the main thing, is that it's like you got to figure it out. You got to figure out this pedogate thing, because that is the top priority. Because if there's if this is the problem, if that's the worst problem, then I mean, it's pretty bad. You got children missing. You got these pedophiles that took over the world or control the world, and hopefully these common courts do something. Hopefully, if you convict these people, that's why I was trying to, get Kevin Annett to be like, okay, well, the enforcement is what's necessary. It's like, well, how do we get the enforcement done? It's like, okay, so you convicted these guys, but it's time to actually throw them in the box. And if we don't have a legal right to do that, then nothing is solved, is what it seems like. So anyway. This is pretty shocking, ladies and gentlemen. It's not fun to talk about. It's not, it's not a pretty sight to look at. But it's got to be talked about. And what can I say? Geezy Truth News talks about real shite. Because that's the thing. That we got to get everybody talking about real stuff. Because there's too many times where I'm talking to buddies, we're talking or watching the tube, watching, whatever, the news, and it's talking about, like, some piece of paper that was, like, flying over a newspaper stand. Like, they're talking about nothing. They're talking about a new sports victory or something. And, that's all fine and dandy. Like, all the fine, cool stuff, like, funny stuff, whatever. Like, all that's... People need entertainment. People need whatever they enjoy. If you enjoy talking about or watching how people dress up or whatever, whatever the hobby is, you can do whatever you want. But the thing is you got to talk about real stuff, like the pedogate thing, and like ending the Fed, and I mean those are pretty much the two most important subjects. I can't think of anything else. So if anybody else has anything better to mention or talk about, please call this show and, figure this out. So, all right. Well, thank you for tuning in to Geezy Truth News, VIP Special Edition. That was Kevin Annett, brought to you by the Geezy Truth News Network. And we'll add all the links that he mentioned at the bottom. And actually, you can just go to kavinaugh.com. There's a lot of info out there, a lot of information, as he was talking about. So, thank you very much, everybody. And it looks like Geezy Truth News is out. Thank you.